Content warning. The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the hit list. You can't escape your face on the news. Don't mess with fate. Locked up in prison, wood chipper running hot. Police on a mission, hope you don't get caught. Silver bracelets tight, get arrested tonight. In this endless fight, can't hide from the lies. Lies and deception, caught in the storm. Future in question, nowhere left to run. Silver bracelets tight, get arrested tonight. In this endless fight, can't hide from the light. The choices you made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay. Lies and deception, caught in the storm. Future in question, nowhere left to run. Silver bracelets tight, get arrested tonight. In this endless fight, can't hide from the light. The choices you made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay. Oh yeah, no, no, yeah, yeah. The choices you made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay. Oh. Whoa, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Joining us first this morning, a South Haven man is arrested and charged on grooming a child in Jackson County. Jackson County Sheriff's Department says 38-year-old Justin Giles was arrested by DeSoto County Sheriff's Department. At their request, Giles is accused of building a relationship online with a child through social media. This was first reported on March 8th. He's been transported to the Jackson County Adult Detention Center and is being held on a $250,000 bond.
In Johnson County, a three-day operation led to more than a dozen men arrested on child solicitation charges. Sheriff Dwayne Burgess says his office coordinated the sting with multiple departments and county prosecutors. He talked to Wish TV's Alan Self.
With some of the verbiage that they are speaking to who they think is a 14-year-old is very, very disturbing. You know, what they want to do, their gratification, and it's unbelievable the conversations that these adults will have with children.
The Johnson County Sheriff's Office arrested 19 men on preliminary child solicitation charges. Since 2022, the county's large-scale enforcement efforts have produced more than 100 arrests. Local parent Bree Taylor expressed her gratitude.
It make me feel good because it's a lot of kids going missing, so it showed that they at least taking a step to try and stop it from happening.
Johnson County resident Gabriel Lewis feels relieved that these streets are safer after these arrests, though he hopes that apps will implement a higher age limit to protect the community further.
I think to me, when you're 16, you're a little bit smarter about some of the decisions you make and are quicker to speak up if something goes wrong. And so I think that raising the minimum age to use these apps would go a long way towards keeping folks safer.
Sheriff Burgess says targeting these apps helps them catch predators.
They have different chat sites that these individuals are on, and they will contact or reach out to these individuals in hopes to meeting with a underage person.
The sheriff's office is collaborating with prosecutors to build strong cases against the arrested men, whose ages range from 19 to 68 years old.
That's something that stands out too. It affects all walks of life. It doesn't, you don't know what career path these people have, what their occupation is, but it touches everyone.
In Johnson County, I'm Alan Self for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This is 18-year-old Raimundo Tejada Jr. Police in Laredo say he's accused of inappropriately touching a girl. Officers say they responded to a sexual assault report at a location in West Laredo. Investigators say their case led to the arrest and warrant for Tejada. Tejada is charged with indecency with a child by sexual contact, a second-degree felony.
15 people under arrest following a human trafficking sting operation in Miami-Dade. Prosecutors say the men thought they were paying money to have sex with minors, but it was all part of an undercover operation with an officer posing as the children's mother. Some of the suspects appeared in court today, including one who works as an aerospace engineer.
I'm currently working as a jet engine process engineer, which is an aerospace industry, which is located in Miami.
The problem is the nature of the charge is I have to hold you at no bond as to count one. It's a serious matter. You're going to have to see a judge on Monday.
All 15 people are being held without bond.
7 men have been arrested by the Mesa Police Department in a child sex trafficking sting this past weekend. Detectives with the Human Exploitation and Trafficking Unit planned an operation this past Saturday where they say they targeted men who were looking for children for sex. These 7 men were booked for charges involving kids as young as 15. One suspect also faces a sexual conduct with a minor charge. Another is accused of resisting arrest.
Caleb, new at 5, 6 decades in prison. That's a sentence for a Lake Charles man convicted of impregnating a 12-year-old girl in his care. 41-year-old Jose Lopez Montoya was arrested after the girl gave birth. The victim told investigators that Lopez Montoya, who was her guardian, had been abusing her for 2 years. He pleaded guilty to aggravated crimes against nature by incest last week. Today, he was sentenced to 60 years without parole, probation, or suspension of sentence.
A man convicted of raping and murdering a little girl is asking the state to carry out his death sentence fast. Now, Jeremy Williams could be moved to the top of Alabama's execution list, and it's because of a choice he's making himself. Williams was convicted of raping and killing 5-year-old Kumari Holland, you see there, in December 2021. Her body found in a Phoenix City basement with a rope around her neck. The Alabama Court of Appeals has affirmed his conviction and death sentence. Williams fired his attorneys and requested a speedy execution, which Russell County District Attorney Rick Cheney says moves him to the front of the line ahead of inmates who've waited decades. The process could still take up to 3 weeks.
A cyber tip leads to more than 300 photos showing child pornography found inside an East Texas man's phone. According to the Gladewater Police, officials received a cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children back in December regarding explicit material involving child sexual abuse being uploaded to Google Photos. Following an investigation, the account owner was identified as David Bowlock, with the phone containing minors fully nude engaging in sexual acts with what appeared to be adults. Bowlock was arrested on March 28 and taken to the Gregg County Jail.
A Chippewa County man will go to federal prison for receiving child porn over social media. According to a news release from the Department of Justice, 29-year-old Joshua Klein of Jim Falls is sentenced to 6 years for receiving child porn. The release says Klein was suspected of using the app Kik to trade child porn online. In January of last year, he sent child porn images directly to an undercover agent. Klein pleaded guilty in February. His 6-year term will be followed by 15 years of extended supervision.
New at 6, a former substitute teacher working in Broward County arrested, now facing child sex crimes charges. Officials say Marcel Smith began an inappropriate relationship with a student. CBS News Miami's Ted Scouten is your reporter in Oakland Park. And Ted, students and parents are just shocked to hear these allegations.
Yeah, they certainly are, Lauren. You know, it started out with one girl coming forward. Then detectives tell us a second girl made similar allegations. Meanwhile, that former sub was arrested on Friday. He was able to bond out of jail, so now he is out. Anything to say? 27-year-old Marcel Smith has nothing to say to us. The substitute teacher was arrested, accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a teen girl at Northeast High School.
You know, everybody thinks we're safe and nothing would happen. And you never know who's really the weird one out there.
Emily Oliva is in the 11th grade. She was surprised by the allegations. So was her mom.
I told my daughter I pray for her and always tell her to talk when she don't feel right or she don't feel comfortable. So talk, speak. Don't be quiet.
According to the police report, Smith asked the student for pictures several times, saying, "Trust me, everything stays here between us." Then on October 14th, the report has Smith telling the teen in the future that they could have sex at school.
I was shocked because I didn't think nothing like that was happening here.
The police report goes on to say they were sitting in the backseat of his vehicle at a park one night, and she declined his request for sex. That she advised the defendant no multiple times and did not want to engage in any sexual activity. Police say they ended up having sex in the backseat of the vehicle.
Mr. Smith, you've been charged in...
Smith appeared in bond court over the weekend after the victim told school security on Friday that Smith wanted to meet her in an empty classroom. A business called Kelly Education provides substitute teachers for Broward schools. In an email, they said they do comprehensive background and fingerprint checks, which cover local, state, and national criminal records, as well as the National Sex Offender Registry and crimes against children. Now, the school sent out an email on Friday to let parents know what was going on. Meanwhile, as part of his release from jail, Smith can have no victim contact and no contact with minors. Live in Oakland Park, Ted Scouten, CBS News, Miami.
A man was sentenced today and is expected to spend the rest of his life behind bars. It's where we begin this evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dylan Cleland.
And I'm Jamie Baker. Prosecutors say the severity of the sentence reflects both the crime and the defendant's criminal history. News 9's Emma Bernier has more.
A Belmont County man is facing the consequences after dozens of run-ins with the law. The sentencing of Thomas Carson comes with a prison term of 18 years to life. According to prosecuting attorney Kevin Flanagan, that likely means Carson will never be released. Flanagan says Carson's past played a major role in the outcome. He noted Carson has a long criminal record, including 6 prior felonies, along with juvenile and misdemeanor offenses.
We have handled or had a number of cases with Mr. Carson over the last 3 decades. However, none involved child sex abuse. This is the first case of child sex abuse that we had handled. He was just released from prison on another case that we'd handled in April of 2024, and it was soon after that these allegations started to surface.
Investigators say the case stems from a comprehensive investigation by the Belmont County Sheriff's Office, which determined Carson had sexual contact with at least one child under the age of 16 known to him.
Anytime you have a sex abuse case, obviously there's going to be severe mental or psychological harm to the child, and that's what Judge Berhalter was referring to today. And that was one of the reasons why we had requested the sentence that we did.
Authorities also say the child's mother was prosecuted on an obstruction charge and has since landed behind bars. As part of the case, the Department of Job and Family Services, along with the prosecutor's office, has filed to permanently remove children from the mother's custody. A ruling on that matter is still pending. Reporting in Belmont County, I'm Emma Bernier, News 9.
Hi, I'm Jamie Baker. Thanks for watching. Here's another video for you to watch, and please be sure to subscribe to our channel.
Also new at noon, an Agawam man was arrested earlier this month for possessing child sexual abuse material. An investigation led by the Hamden DA's office led to the arrest of 33-year-old John Milos. The investigation began after the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received a cyber tip line report. Officers were granted search warrants on April 9th and arrested him the following day. Milos is facing multiple child sexual abuse material charges and was arraigned in Westfield District Court. His bail has been set at $5,000.
Marion County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a former elementary school employee accused of possessing child porn. Deputies say 25-year-old Philip Duncan was arrested for 20 counts of possession yesterday. He was hired as a paraprofessional at Oak Crest Elementary last month and worked there for about a month. Investigators say they are looking into if he harmed a child at the school.
And right now we're following this story for you. A former Ursuline Academy coach is behind bars on child porn charges. Dominic Bellissimo is charged with 5 counts of pandering, sexually oriented material involving a minor. Now, Green Township police say they executed a search warrant at his home on Sunburst Ridge Lane today. Our partners in the Inquirer is reporting court records show Bellissimo had video on his cell phone. He told police he paid for those videos and also had other videos on his laptop. Ursuline Academy sent us a statement saying they fired him today and they have no reason to believe the charges involved any Ursuline student or took place on school grounds. Detectives say charges are pending. Now, Bellissimo is currently being held at the Hamilton County Justice Center. He's due in court tomorrow morning.
A resource officer is now accused of more misconduct in Seminole County toward a student. Channel 9's Nick Papantones has been on the story from the start and joins us live now outside of the Seminole County Jail. And Nick, officers believe there could be more victims.
Yeah, this is a case where the second victim was known because of some eagle-eyed police officers in Sanford here. They say she came forward in the comments of a Facebook post connected to this case. In this case, they do think there could be more victims because the behavior described in the documents here can be described as aggressive, where he had these victims one-on-one, and that's when the behavior started taking place.
Pedro Silva.
Pedro da Silva's second trip to the Seminole County Jail came with a bigger price tag, a judge giving the former police officer a $70,000 bond for his latest child sex charges. The second arrest 4 months after police said he showed a 17-year-old explicit photos of himself and made lewd comments to her while on duty at Seminole High School. Officers say their Facebook announcement of his arrest caused another teenager to come forward, claiming he did this to more girls. Officers say she was one of them, and he told her she didn't have to wait until she turned 18.
I still trust my daughter that nothing happened, but it's still concerning that somebody like that was even on school grounds.
Investigators say in the 24 hours after Da Silva was told he was under investigation and fired from his job, he made a series of Google searches on his phone, including how to bail someone out of jail, how to clear cash on iPhone, and where do they put cops that go to jail. Another search. What is the charge for sending a naked picture to a minor in Florida? Police say security camera video from inside the school backs up this newest victim's claims. Da Silva could face up to 20 years in prison at most if he is convicted on these new charges. Live in Seminole County, Nick Papantones, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Authorities arrest a Florida man for allegedly uploading child sex abuse material in Marrero. 58-year-old Sean Patrick was booked on April 15th near Orlando. He allegedly shared material involving children under the age of 13 years old. Patrick was booked into a Florida jail, and this investigation is ongoing here.
Cheney woman will spend the next year in prison after pleading guilty to raping a 14-year-old boy. 25-year-old Sydney Yagme pleaded guilty Friday to rape of a child in the 3rd degree. Prosecutors say Yagme was living in an apartment with her husband and another woman who is the mother of the teenage victim. Court records show the victim's mother contacted police after learning about the relationship. Investigators say the relationship had been going on for several months before she was arrested.
The suspect in a child porn case from Gainesville is set to spend prison time following a plea deal. Miko Briles took a deal for 10 years in prison, followed by 10 years of sex offender probation. He was arrested in March of last year. Gainesville police say he actively sought out child porn online.
accused in a child exploitation investigation now involving local and federal law enforcement. The Lane County Sheriff's Office says the case began on April 4th after a resort guest reported finding suspected child sex abuse material on a television inside a cabin. Detectives say the investigation led them to 63-year-old Michael Stephen Beasley of Eugene. On April 21st, investigators with assistance from the FBI and a Lincoln County Sheriff's Office K-9 unit executed a search warrant at a home on Old Dillard Road, seizing multiple electronic devices. Beasley was arrested on April 23rd without incident. He's facing 20 felony counts related to child exploitation, along with an additional count of encouraging sexual abuse of an animal. Authorities say the investigation is ongoing and more charges could be possible.
Former dean at Sun Prairie West High School will spend nearly 2 decades in prison. Today, a federal judge sentenced Robert Gilkey-Messigier to 18 years in prison, followed by 25 years of extended supervision. Back in February, Gilkey-Messigier pleaded guilty to producing child pornography. As part of his plea, Gilkey-Messigier admitted to arranging a, quote, clandestine meeting at the school with a female student, and also admitted to asking for and receiving naked and sexually suggestive photos and videos of the student. Gilkey-Messigier faces 15 felony counts in Dane County as well, including over a dozen counts of possession of child pornography. The case and subsequent investigations led to increased scrutiny on the Sun Prairie Area School District and the arrest of former Sun Prairie West High School principal Jennifer Ploger. She was charged in Dane County with failing to report child abuse.
A former school custodian has been sentenced to decades in prison for attempting to sexually exploit a student.
57-year-old Tracy Lee Cruz was arrested in 2024. The investigation began when a 5th grader told her mother Cruz gave her a phone and asked her to take photos for him. The phone he gave the student contained pornographic images. Cruz was found guilty and sentenced to 62 years in prison without parole or early release.
A former school security chief and former police officer has been arrested on child pornography charges in Bristol Township. Investigators say they uncovered that David Jane had a history involving child sexual assault material spanning 20 years. Action News reporter Brianna Smith joins us live from Bristol Township tonight with the latest on this investigation. Brianna.
Gray, neighbors say they are shocked and sickened by the allegations and held David Jane to a higher standard. Now they say they're worried about what he'll do next after police say he posted bail. This former Bristol Township police officer and school security chief who was hired to protect children is now facing child pornography charges.
At one time he was protecting the laws.
Bristol Township police say 63-year-old David Jane was arrested Friday morning at his home on Granite Road in Levittown. Detectives say a tip on Tuesday sparked their investigation. They say evidence shows Jane possessed child sexual assault material for about 20 years.
It's disturbing knowing that he's been doing that for 20 years. Very disturbing.
Police say Jane was employed as an officer from 1989 until 2000. Then he worked as a security guard in the Bristol Township School District until 2023. However, detectives do not believe any students were involved. The district said in a statement they're cooperating with the investigation and, quote, the district has established policies and procedures designed to protect students, and we continuously review and strengthen these measures.
I'm shocked. I'm gonna tear up. This is a lot.
In Jane's neighborhood, residents are stunned.
He was a nice guy, friendly. He helped you shovel your sidewalk when it snowed.
Now they're concerned about all of the children in the area.
It's a terrible crime against kids. If he did it, he should be prosecuted.
Now, police say Jane is out on $5,000 cash bail. The police chief says he's extremely disappointed and believes Jane is a danger to society. He asked the DA's office to reconsider the bail. We reached out to the DA's office and the judge. We're waiting to hear back. Live in Bristol Township, Brianna Smith for Action News at 10 on PHL 17. Gray?
Okay, Brianna, thank you. Tonight.
Former Port Neches Fire Chief Paul Nelson pled guilty to 2 counts of possession of child pornography today. He got 8 years on each count. The charges stem from 2021 after the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received a tip. His sentences will run concurrently.
We begin with an update on a nearly 40-year-old cold case. Investigators say a 69-year-old man who escaped to the Philippines is responsible for the 1989 abduction and sexual battery of a young girl. Fox 13's Jennifer Veglas joins us live from the newsroom after digging into the case all evening. And Jennifer, how were investigators able to connect the suspect to the crime?
Haley, according to the Bureau of Immigration, which works with both the U.S. Department of Justice and the Philippine government, it was genealogical research and preserved DNA evidence from the case that led detectives to young Tom Talmadge.
It was a case jarring Hillsborough County in 1989, spanning two popular bowling alleys, the abduction and sexual battery of a 7-year-old girl. At the time, investigators said a man approached the girl at Tampa Lanes on Northdale Mabry, that's since closed down, and gave her coins to play arcade games, then lured her to his car, raped her, then dropped her off at another bowling alley, all while customers at Tampa Lanes frantically searched for her, including the manager.
The whole place just kind of came to a null, just stopped. Bowlers went outside, they went outside to the restaurant, and people from the restaurant came outside and looked.
A man at the second bowling alley immediately recognized her.
When I saw the girl, I said to myself, instincts just said that this was the poor kid.
For nearly 4 decades, the perpetrator went undetected until last month when the Hillsborough County State Attorney's Office issued a warrant for young Tom Talmadge, who has been living in the city of Cavite in the Philippines. Thursday, the Bureau of Immigration's Fugitive Search Unit arrested him. The Bureau says it's all part of its Shield Kids campaign to prevent the Philippines from becoming a safe haven for child predators.
We can say, yes, he evaded, legal consequences for so long. What I am more positively impressed is with the fact that the local law enforcement did not let it go.
Renata Castro, immigration attorney at USA for All, says more importantly,
it's about bringing closure to the victims.
Around the time of the 7-year-old's abduction, another with a 3-year-old girl from a Pasco County gas station was also reported. We asked the Pasco County Sheriff's Office if Talmadge is linked to this case too, but we have not heard back.
Now, the state attorney's office in Hillsborough County says Talmadge is not yet back in the United States. We asked the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office when he will be brought back and where, but we have not heard back. Guys.
We know you stay on top of it. Jennifer Vegas reporting tonight. Jennifer, thank you.
On midday, a Gulfport man has been arrested by Jackson County Sheriff's Department for molestation. The Sheriff's Department says 44-year-old Wesley Newman was arrested at his Gulfport home on 3 Rivers Road. The arrest stems from an ongoing investigation from a reported incident in Van Cleve. He was arrested in Gulfport for what the sheriff's office calls similar incidents and then transported to the Jackson County Adult Detention Center. Newman has been denied bail.
A 10 on your side follow-up now. A Gloucester man will spend life in prison on charges related to the sexual abuse of a foreign exchange student that his family was hosting. A federal judge in Newport News sentenced 42-year-old Anthony Ruggiero today. In November, a jury convicted him on charges of coercion and enticement of a child and receipt of child sexual abuse material. He was also found guilty of receiving 5 videos of child sexual abuse material of an identified victim in Texas.
All new at noon now, a Georgia man is facing more than 70 sex abuse charges. He's in jail here in the Tennessee Valley. 26-year-old Michael Chambers is charged with dissemination and production of child pornography, sexual abuse of a child, sodomy, and more. His arrest comes after an investigation by the Franklin County Sheriff's Office following the arrest of Abigail Roberts on more than 100 similar charges last week. Warrants were issued for Chambers, and investigators traveled to Randolph County to begin a multi-agency search. He was found and arrested in Carrollton, Georgia, and then extradited to Franklin County last night. Officials say more charges are possible. All new at noon now, a Georgia man is facing more than 70 sex abuse charges. He's in jail here in the Tennessee Valley. 26-year-old Michael Chambers is charged with dissemination and production of child pornography, sexual abuse of a child, sodomy, and more. His arrest comes after an investigation by the Franklin County Sheriff's Office following the arrest of Abigail Roberts on more than 100 similar charges last week. Warrants were issued for Chambers, and investigators traveled to Randolph County to begin a multi-agency search. He was found and arrested in Carrollton, Georgia, and then extradited to Franklin County last night. Officials say more charges are possible.
New details now. A Saginaw County man sentenced in a case involving the sexual abuse of 2 children. Ryan Schilling of Albee Township will spend the next 12 to 30 years behind bars. He was sentenced Monday after pleading no contest to criminal sexual conduct and child sexually abusive activity. A report by a family member in January of last year led to his eventual arrest.
The Muskogee County Sheriff's Office, alongside the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, executed a search warrant that led to an arrest. Investigators say Aaron Craig was arrested this morning and is now facing 10 counts of sexual exploitation of children. The Sheriff's Office says this is part of an ongoing effort to protect the community, and they are committed to tracking down anyone who threatens children.
Authorities say a man in Ascension Parish has landed behind bars. They say he's Cody Madeira of Gonzales, and the investigation into him started back in March. Authorities say they got a search warrant, which led them to discover files depicting child sex abuse materials on an electronic device. The suspect was booked into the Ascension Parish jail.
News: a man accused of luring kids in Aiken is now behind bars. William Scott is charged with 2 counts of luring a child after public safety officers responded to the Whiskey Road target Tuesday. They say he was asking kids to go to the bathroom with him. He was arrested earlier today.
A Llano ISD substitute teacher is in the Bell County Jail accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student. Angela Palmares is charged with improper relationship between an educator and a student. An investigation began on Tuesday when the district told the Llano County Sheriff's Office about the incident. An arrest warrant was issued, and she was found in Bell County and taken into custody. Llano ISD immediately removed her from the list of available substitutes.
A North Valley Middle School track and field coach is now being accused of serious crimes involving children. The Merced County Sheriff's Office announced the arrest of 21-year-old Daniel Lucatero Buccio after detectives found him in possession of child sexual abuse material.
Lucatero Buccio was taken into custody on campus at California State University Stanislaus, where the Sheriff's Office says that he is pursuing a degree in education. Action News reporter Vincent Camarillo joins us live from Merced with an update on the investigation. Vincent.
Well, Graciela and Dale, that coach's alleged actions have shaken the small community of Livingston, and we've just learned that he has bailed out of jail, though the investigation remains ongoing. A possible predator working at a Livingston school is causing concern in the North Valley.
There's some sick folks out there, you know, really sick folks.
Tuesday, we received our first look at Daniel Lucatero Buccio after the Merced County Sheriff's Office announced his arrest for possession of child sexual abuse material. Originally from Delhi, he was a track and field coach at Livingston Middle School. The 21-year-old was taken into custody on April 24th, about 15 miles away on campus at Stanislaus State, where he is pursuing a degree in education.
That's embarrassing. Got to be for the family, too. It's sad. That's what it is. It's just sad.
Locals are now questioning the motives behind Lucatero Buccio's pursuit of coaching. Many in the area left asking themselves how someone with these alleged actions could be trusted to work so closely with children.
That's kind of scary when they don't, it seems like they don't do enough screening to find out about people that are teaching our children.
Both Livingston Middle School and the Livingston Union School District declined our request for comment due to the ongoing investigation. Detectives say these operations start weeks in advance and are often the effort of multiple agencies.
So in March of 2026, the Merced County Sheriff's Office Investigations Bureau received a cyber tip from NCMEC, the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children.
That cyber tip is what kick-started their dive into the online activity of Lucatero Buccio. Detective Jose Sanchez told us without it, the alleged crimes could have flown under the radar.
Once the reports have been finished and the investigation has ended, the entire file will be sent over to the Merced County District Attorney's Office.
Now, we should note that none of the initial reports from the Merced County Sheriff's Office indicate that any of the victims were students at Livingston Middle School. Live in Merced, Vincent Camarillo, ABC 30, Action News.
At 5, a Richland Parish man has been arrested following an investigation into suspected online child exploitation. The investigation started in March after a tip that 20-year-old Bryson James Sims allegedly was using fake social media accounts posing as a 16-year-old boy. Authorities say James Sims would talk to underage girls across several states, exchanging explicit pictures and messages. James Sims was arrested on Thursday, charged with indecent behavior with juveniles, pornography involving juveniles, and computer-aided solicitation. He's being held on a $750,000 bond.
In other news tonight, police announcing the arrest of a Wiregrass man accused of sexually assaulting a victim during a burglary. It happened in Dale County. Ozark police arresting 25-year-old Brennan Harper. On Friday evening, police responded to a report of a burglary and sexual assault on the 1500 block of County Road 30. Officials say when officers arrived, the suspect, later identified as Harper, had already fled the scene. However, during the investigation, police determined a robbery and assault did take place. Harper, later located near the victim's residence, was arrested and charged with both burglary and sexual abuse in the first degree.
An Onslow County man is facing several child sexual exploitation charges and is scheduled to appear in court today. Onslow County deputies arrested Kevin Wall yesterday. According to warrants, the 44-year-old man was found with visual materials showing young children engaging in sexual activity. Warrants say the victims range in age from 7 to 11 years old. Wall was charged with 4 counts of second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor and 4 counts of third-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. Records show he was convicted of soliciting a child by computer in 2020 in Onslow County. He was taken to the Onslow County Jail without.
Authorities say a registered sex offender was caught in a young child's bedroom. Tonight, his bond was set at more than $1 million. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Bill Shammer.
I'm Quinicia Fraser. This is Laverne Scott. He was arrested on Friday. KETV Newswatch 7's Beth Carlson joins us with the arrest report and the allegations.
And a warning for our viewers, Beth, these are allegations that are tough to hear, right?
Bill, that's right. The victims say this happened in their townhome near 13th and Leavenworth. Scott allegedly came in the middle of the night through an unlocked front door. They say he took his clothes off and went to a 9-year-old boy's bedroom. That's when the boy screamed for his grandfather. Now, according to court documents, the grandfather of that child went in and found the suspect standing at the foot of the bed. He then walked Scott out of the house. He told police he went back inside and found Scott's clothes. But when he went to give them to him, he had taken off. That's when the family called 911. Now later that night, officers got a second call alleging that Scott, while naked, went into a nearby Airbnb. He told people inside it was his own home. Police found Scott wearing only his socks on the corner of 14th and Leavenworth. KETV Investigates looked into Scott's history. He was convicted of first-degree sexual assault in 1987 and attempted sexual assault in 1999. He's a lifetime sex offender. Now that means he's required to check in at the sheriff's office every 3 months. But according to the arresting documents, Scott was sent to jail 4 different times, spending a grand total of 5 years behind bars for not checking in and verifying his sex offender status. Now, today, a judge set his bond at $1.25 million. He was charged with several felonies, including child abuse, burglary, indecent exposure, and violating the sex offender registry. Now, authorities say Scott hasn't checked in on his sex offender status since September of 2025. That was 7 months ago. Now, we reached out to Douglas County to talk about their sex offender registry and how to track people down who don't check it. We expect to hear more from them tomorrow. Back to you.
Wow. Okay, Beth, thank you.
That's right. First up for you at 4, we begin with that breaking news this last half hour. Police confirming there are several additional victims in that Avon daycare case.
Jan Carlos Berrios Otero was arrested and charged with molesting a young boy at Bright Path Daycare back on April 1st. And now we're learning he is facing additional sexual assault charges, including aggravated sexual assault. Police say they now have at least 6 instances of assault involving 5 children. BrightPath is now closing that Avon location, leaving families less than a month to find new care. And as for Barrios Otero, he is set to be arraigned on the new charges soon. Stick with us online and on air for more on this breaking news.
4 o'clock, a young girl who was last seen in Middletown earlier this month has been found in North Carolina. 15-year-old Zaylee Neron was reported missing on April 9th. She was last seen near Glover Place and Pearl Street. Police say on Monday they found her at a home on Ocean Isle Beach with 51-year-old Justin Newman. You see him on the right-hand screen. Newman was arrested, charged with kidnapping, and appeared in court this afternoon. We're still working to learn more about exactly what happened.
The Grayson County grand jury has indicted a Sherman man on 30 counts, all involving sex crimes. Sherman police arrested 23-year-old Gabriel Miller, seen there back in February. He now faces 2 counts of bestiality, 6 related to child pornography, and 24 counts involving child sexual abuse. Miller remains in the Grayson County Jail, bond set at more than $1 million.
County Sheriff's deputy is facing several child rape and human trafficking charges involving a 15-year-old boy. 41-year-old Richard Kielszewski of Hanson has been a law enforcement officer for several years. The Plymouth County DA says the investigation began last Friday and now includes crimes that occurred in Hanson, Halifax, and Middleborough. The charges include several counts of sexual assault, paying for sex, trafficking a child for sexual servitude, and using that victim to create child porn. He's also accused of trying to intimidate a witness. Kielszewski is now being held on $250,000 bail and will be arraigned on Monday.
Police arrested a Seymour, Indiana couple on child molestation charges. Indiana State Police arrested 30-year-old Farron Dyer and his wife, 29-year-old Raven Dyer, after a 2-week investigation. Police say the couple is accused of molesting a juvenile victim in Jackson County earlier this year. They're now charged with child molesting, sexual misconduct with a minor, neglect of a dependent, and battery. The couple is being held in the Jackson County Jail.
A Houston County man thrown behind bars for sex crimes. 32-year-old Brandon Scott Casper of Gordon getting arrested by Houston County deputies for multiple charges of sex abuse on a child, including facing 3 counts of sexual abuse involving a child under 12. Now, reports say each charge is tied to separate alleged incidents from April 2023 to 2025. Now, he has a $10,000 bond, but just stay with the WDHN News for any updates.
And court documents show University of North Alabama student facing serious charges. And court documents show 19-year-old Darius Darby was arrested on 40 counts related to child pornography. Investigators say they searched his phone and found 40 sexually explicit files involving minors. Darby was taken into custody last week, but records show he bonded out the same day on a $75,000 bond. UNA confirms that Darby is a student there.
Well, new tonight, a simple roadside encounter takes an unexpected turn, ending in a child pornography investigation and an arrest. After helping a stranded motorist, a man says he was sent disturbing videos. Mike Jimenez picks up the story from there.
This is 30-year-old Gerardo Fabian Hernandez, who the sheriff says is facing a charge of possession and promotion of child pornography. We're told this all started on April 22nd when another man received videos containing child pornography from an unknown number. That man then recognized the number as Hernandez's, a stranded motorist who had run out of gas that he had helped earlier in the day. When that man saw the messages, he immediately notified authorities, who began their investigation.
They were able to identify Gerardo Fabian Hernandez as the owner of that cell phone number, the subscriber of that cell phone information, and we're able to even identify whom we believe to be victims in this case. We believe there are 3 victims that were depicted in that child pornography, 2 of which are still minor children, one of which that we believe might be a young adult.
Sheriff Salazar says the victims were not related to Hernandez, and he would seek out living situations where he had access to children. And they believe there could be other victims because Salazar says Hernandez has previously worked as a maintenance worker at an apartment complex.
And if you have any information about Hernandez or believe your child could be a victim, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office wants you to give them a call. Mike Jimenez, KENS 5.
Now, a former Waco attorney is now serving a 60-day sentence for sexually abusing a boy. Adam Hoffman was facing a felony charge for continuous sexual abuse of a child, but he ended up taking a deal to plead guilty to lesser charges. The Texas Attorney General's office offered Hoffman a plea deal, 30 days in jail. But at his sentencing hearing yesterday, Judge Roy Sparkman doubled that, calling the case deeply troubling. For many people, though, the new 60-day sentence is still not enough. Many are also upset that as part of the deal, Hoffman doesn't have to register as a sex offender. 6 News spoke with Hoffman's attorney who defended the deal. We also talked to Representative Pat Curry, who's been following the case and was shocked by the outcome.
Research on it that shows that registering often causes more problems than it solves.
Of evidentiary discovery that they did, and the whole thing turned into be a joke at the expense of one of our children.
The victim's mother spoke in court saying, quote, "We've been waiting 4 long and painful years. This plea represents only a small portion of what he did." She says she accepted the deal to protect her son, who now lives with PTSD and didn't want to testify again. At the end of her statement, she and her son gave Hoffman a Bible. The boy wrote a message on the inside saying he forgives Hoffman.
A Beaufort County private high school security guard is behind bars after authorities say he was having sex with a student and let them hold his gun. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division of SLED has charged 29-year-old Austin Thompson with sexual battery with a 16-year-old student and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. The arrest warrant says he allegedly had sex with a May River High School student while 3 times after school hours and off school grounds last October. It also says Thompson allegedly gave his gun to the student after hours in front of other minors. Thompson is booked in the Beaufort County Jail.
A Twin Falls man is headed to prison for child sex crimes. According to court minutes today, a judge sentenced Richard Green on 2 charges, one of those being child sexual abuse by causing or having sexual contact with a minor under the age of 16. Green will spend at least 10 years behind bars, with the maximum sentence being 40 years. According to an affidavit, Twin Falls police officers uncovered messages suggesting that Green sexually assaulted a minor back in October of 2024. After conducting interviews, police uncovered another case of sexual abuse about a week earlier. As part of the sentence, Green must pay a $5,000 civil fine as well as court costs. A no-contact order has also been entered.
3 Northwest Ohio men are facing federal charges following a multi-agency investigation into child sexual abuse materials. Here's what we know. Prosecutors say the cases stem from Operation Spring Break, which led to multiple search warrants and arrests across the region. Authorities say the 3 men are charged with receiving and distributing illicit materials, with investigators seizing dozens of devices and thousands of files.
What began as a sex assault outcry from a young man is now a large-scale effort to identify more possible victims in Northside ISD. A woman who's been teaching in NISD schools since 2007 has been arrested and charged with continuous sex abuse of a child, with allegations that go back to the 2017 school year. Sue Kalberg has more on the allegation and the response now by the school district.
The allegation that led to the arrest involves alleged predatory behavior that happened here at Lewis Elementary School. The arrest affidavit doesn't name the school, but NISD has confirmed that the accused taught here from 2007 to 2019. 46-year-old Cecilia Mueller was arrested yesterday. The affidavit for her arrest explains in detail allegations made by a man who's now 20 years old. The man says in the 2016-17 school year, he was a 5th grade student in Mueller's class. He claims the woman targeted a group of kids as her favorites, giving them special privileges like lunches in the classroom. The affidavit says those encounters in the first few months of the school year led to secret, explicit physical contact in a classroom closet. during the remainder of the year. The affidavit goes into detail how investigators were able to access phone logs from that time period, and they say they found about 300 text messages and pictures were exchanged between Mueller and the boy. Fast forward to the present. NISD confirms Mueller's now on leave while the investigation continues. They say she's been a teacher at Henderson Elementary since 2019. The district provided a letter to parents they say has been shared with both school communities in which they promise the schools are a safe environment. They say the school counselors are prepared to help anyone who may need it. The case is being handled by the SAPD Special Victims Unit, and they say anyone who could have been a victim should call 210-207-2313. Mueller's bond has been set at $95,000. She has a court-appointed attorney. If she is released, there's a no-contact order for the victim and a prohibition against firearms. There's been no date set yet for her next court appearance. In Northside ISD, Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
Tracking crime here now. A Stanton man is facing nearly 24 charges related to possession and distribution of child pornography and having images depicting a person engaging in bestiality. Stanton police tells us that 34-year-old David A. Stathos of the Queen City was arrested on Tuesday with the help of the Virginia Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. This is all after a tip was submitted through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children last month. The investigation is still unfolding, but right now Stathos is charged with 15 counts of possession and distributing child pornography, plus an additional 5 counts of having an image depicting a person engaged in sexual contact with an animal. He's held at Middle River without bond at Middle River Regional Jail, with the preliminary court hearing set for June 22nd.
A woman will spend decades in jail after pleading guilty to child trafficking in Williamson County. A judge sentenced 30-year-old Tiffany Ann Rugen to 40 years in prison. Now, she also pled guilty in 2 other child sexual assault cases in another county. The case goes back to June 2023 when police investigated her for possession of child pornography. Investigators say the case revealed a broader pattern of exploitation, which included trafficking, recording abuse, and sharing it online for money. Garrett Bailey, who was charged with Rugen, was sentenced to life in prison without parole late last year, and 2 children have been placed under the care of Child Protective Services. In a release announcing the conviction, Williamson County District Attorney Sean Dick wrote in part, quote, "Our office remains committed to dismantling these networks and ensuring that those who treat children as commodities are held fully accountable under the law," end quote.
Levy County Sheriff's deputies say a teacher who had an inappropriate relationship with a student faces criminal charges. 38-year-old Nicholas Sapp was arrested today. Sapp is now on leave at Williston Middle High School. Deputies responded to a report from a witness who shared details of the relationship to a parent. Detectives say they found evidence corroborating the relationship. According to the school, Sapp was hired as an algebra and geometry teacher in 2025.
Prosecutor's office, so nope, she's here. Oh, there she is. Yeah. All right. My apologies, Judge. We were both talking out in the hallway.
Your appearances. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Shelby St. Morgan on behalf of the people.
Judge Colin McLaughlin, P75096 on behalf of Jocelyn San Roman. Jocelyn, can you state your name for the record, please?
Jocelyn San Roman. All right. Today is the date time set for sentencing. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions to the pre-sentence investigation?
Judge, the only one correction, there's one issue. The only correction is relates to her education, which is on page 6. Denotes her graduated with a bachelor's degree in Spanish. That's actually public health, and she has a minor in Spanish. As it relates to the guidelines, Judge, I think myself and the prosecutor are in agreement that OB10 should be scored at 0. It sounds like that does not ultimately change the guidelines in this case; they remain the same.
Prosecutor. That's correct, Your Honor. It wouldn't alter the overall guidelines. At one time, there is a belief that the guidelines are 57 to 95. Probation has them at 51 to 85. Do you have an agreement about that or not have an agreement about it? Yes. After reviewing, they are 51 to 85.
That's what it is.
Yes. Go ahead.
Judge, as it relates to sentencing, we have no other change or corrections. The court's ready for me to allocate. what I would say on behalf of my client is that, obviously she made a tremendous error of judgment here. A lot of it has to do with her own mental health issues, which she has not addressed. Myself and her have been working diligently over the course of the case to address them. Unfortunately, given the situation here, this is a battle and a continued development that she's going to have to undertake on her own. She understands that, and she's looking forward and trying to do her best to become a better person. That's where she's at right now, Judge.
The victim is not here, or the victim's parent? Or...
Correct. They are not present in the courtroom, but I do have a statement on behalf. Of us, how deeply this has affected our lives today, you will hear from me. As a mother, you never imagine something like this happening to your child until it does. From the moment the police came to my home, my life has not felt the same. This case has changed me and my family in ways I never expected. I watched my son's name be publicly judged and criticized for circumstances involving a minor and an adult. I heard rumors about my family, and I was called a terrible mother for something that I did not know was happening. No parent is prepared for that kind of pain. I have watched my son change. He has become withdrawn and avoids people. Because of the fear and attention the situation has created, I had pulled him out of school to place him into online schooling. His normal life, his education, his routine, and his sense of security was taken. This has left me with constant fear and anxiety, not just for him, but for other children as well. I now worry about things no parent should have to worry about when sending their child to school. This situation has also changed my life in practical ways. I worked midnights to support my family, but I will never do that again. The thought that something so serious could happen while I was working is something that I cannot live with. Since this became public, I have struggled emotionally and have needed antidepressants to cope. One of the hardest parts has been reading hateful comments about my son, who was only 16 at the time. While the role of the adult involved was often overlooked, the difference in how people respond based on gender is deeply troubling. What happened cannot be undone. The impact on my son, on me, and our family is lasting. And as a mother, all I have ever wanted is to protect my child and give him a future. That has been changed forever. I'm asking for you to fully consider the lasting damage this has caused for our lives when making your decision, because this is something we will carry with us the rest of our lives. Thank you for your time. And I apologize I could not be present due to financial obligations. I had to be at work.
Thank you. What do you have to say? I guess, like, what were you thinking?
Yes, honestly, not my best thinking.
I can't hear you.
Not my best thinking.
Serious risk-taking behavior, taking advantage of a minor, videotaping. You're having sex with a minor at his home, right? I mean, it's just disgusting. Do you want to add anything?
No, I think that the statement was enough, Judge.
All right. Would you like to add anything?
No, Judge, just has the court follow the agreement that we have.
All right. So, with regard to 3 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct, 51 months to 15 years with the Michigan Department of Corrections on each of the 3 counts, 1-day credit on each. You must comply with DNA testing at a cost of $60. State cost is $204. There's a crime victims' rights fee of $130. You must comply with DNA testing, HIV testing, and comply with the sex offender registration requirements. You must have no contact with you or any of your agents have contact with the victim or anyone in his family. Did I leave anything out?
No, Your Honor.
Right,
I don't think so.
Judge, for the record, I'm handing her a notice of right to appellate review. In a moment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
a child experiences trauma, they can be stripped of their ability to imagine. But imagination is colors. All the colors. Imagination is freedom. And whatever you want it to be. But a child without imagination is not a child at all. Will you help defend our right to imagine? One for a rainbow, one for Amanda.
Who you playing with, sweetie?
Amanda.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Amanda. I'm 6, and I love unicorns.
Sexual predators are seeking kids online.
We don't know Amanda.
Learn how to report abuse at end-violence.org/protect.